I've been kind of wanting to make this video since the Lightning made it to the Stanley Cup Finals. I thought to myself, well, if Montreal wins the cup, I won't make this video. I'll make a video talking about the Canadian Stanley Cup team. I'll make a video, discussing, how good the team was and, the key players who really stepped up. But we're spending today talking about last season's Tampa Bay Lightning and this season's Tampa Bay Lightning. What were the difference? Who were the players who were on the team back then who aren't anymore now? Who were the players who weren't on the team back in 2020 but are now? And as well as that, who led the team every year? So first off, if you're new to the channel, please go make sure to leave a like and hit that subscribe button as we're trying to get to 900 subscribers by the beginning of next season. That's my kind of high hope. We're only 30 subscribers away from said plateau, so I would really appreciate it. And, we're going to keep making videos, keep having some fun. We're going to recap the end of the season. We got a lot of stuff coming up regarding teams and all that other good stuff tomorrow. So anyways, let's get into this series that have happened in the past 2 years. So in 2020, in the first round, the Tampa Bay Lightning defeated the Columbus Blue Jackets in 5 games. Of course, that was the round after their infamous sweep in 2019. So Tampa's obviously thinking to themselves, yeah, we're not going to screw around. We're not going to take our foot off the gas pedal. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep revving at this team, and we're going to beat them. And they did. They handled them pretty well, although it included a lot of overtime games. And notably that 5 overtime game in Game 1, which caused the Carolina Hurricanes to have a meltdown on their Twitter. Yeah, they really handled Columbus pretty well. And the only difference between that and 2021 is they played Florida. And they beat Florida in 6 games. So they lost to Florida once in overtime, Mason Marchment being the overtime scorer. They went up 2-0 in that series quickly. It was pretty clear that they weren't messing around in this series either. So, of course, they beat Florida in 6 games. Spencer Knight stole a game from the Panthers or from the Lightning, so they forced a 6th game. And I just think it was really dominant. I just think the goaltending difference between 2021 and 2020 is that, you had Korpisalo and, Spencer Knight on the other side. So that was the big difference that I notably saw in that first round. In the second round, however, the Tampa Bay Lightning faced the Boston Bruins, who took out, ironically, the Carolina Hurricanes, who they would face in 2021. They handled the Bruins pretty well. I thought so, in my opinion. I thought that they kind of first off steamrolled through Columbus and Boston in the first 2 rounds. Although Boston did come out with the Game 1 win, it was close as hell. And then, of course, Tampa moved in and won 4 straight and went on to the conference finals. In 2021, they went up 2-0 again in a series. And then they lost in overtime to Sebastian Aho and his team in Game 3. They were down in Game 4. They came back and won. And then, of course, they shut out the Hurricanes at home or at Raleigh Arena or at PNC Arena. I don't know what happened there with me. In Game 5 to move on to the conference finals once again. In the third round, they would play the same team twice in both years, the New York Islanders. And I still think to this day, since Columbus beat them in 2019, New York has given Tampa the hardest time to move on. Of course, they beat the Islanders in 6 games in 2020, where they had 8-2 blowouts, and they went up 2-0 in the series. Islanders won Game 3, Tampa won Game 4, Isles won Game 5 in overtime, and of course Tampa sealed it off in overtime in Game 6. I thought 2021 was way more competitive, way more close, and I said at the beginning of the series, I thought that the Islanders were going to win this, and I thought when they win this, they're going to win the cup. But you know what? It went the other way. Tampa won in 7 games. Islanders actually won Game 1, which is the first time if I'm pretty sure since that 2019 series against Columbus, when they've lost Game 1 and of course it didn't matter. They went on to win the series anyways after a bunch of blowouts, and it took a lot, but they beat the New York Islanders. So that leads up to the Stanley Cup Finals, where they faced off against the Dallas Stars in 2020. And first off, I was rooting for Dallas, and I really was. I was rooting for Dallas, but as being a a Tampa fan in general, I wouldn't have minded to see them win the cup either. So of course they won in 6 games in 2020. I thought they handled Dallas pretty well. Dallas took game 1. Okay, so I did get it mixed up. Dallas did take game 1 in 2020. So that was the first time since, you know what I mean. So, Tampa obviously moved on and won the cup. They handled them pretty easily. And then I thought it was going to be a sweep this year, honestly, but Montreal edged out the overtime winning game 4 to force the series on to a game 5, where Tampa eventually won it. I thought that it was going to be a sweep because even if Montreal was out playing Tampa, Vasilevsky, a freaking brick wall, and we'll get into his statistics later, but just unbelievable in against all the teams. He hasn't lost a game in back-to-back. He hasn't lost back-to-back games since that sweep. Yeah, yeah. This team is unbelievable, unfreaking believable. And I've said it so many times. Like, people are saying like, oh, they're 18 mil over the cap. Last year was COVID year. They're gonna suck next year because they have Coleman, Gord, Gaudreau. They have other guys expiring. They're not going to. They're gonna figure out a way to. They're gonna figure out a way to win this. And you know what? Even if they lose those guys, and look, those guys are big contributors to this team. I'm not denying that. They still have Stamkos. They still have Kucharov. They still have Point. They still have Hedman. They still have Sergachev. They still have one of the best goalies, if not the best goalie I have ever seen, Andrei Vasilevsky. And I used to say Henrik Lundqvist was the best goalie I've ever seen. But now I think that's Vasilevsky. So, yeah, they still have an amazing team. And I just don't understand why people are saying, they're going to suck next year. Yes, they won't be as good as they were in past years. But they're not going to suck. They're still going to make the playoffs. They're probably still going to win the first round and keep advancing. That's just how good I think this team is. So this is also something I want to take a look at. I wanted to take a look at who were the players that were on the 2020 Stanley Cup team that weren't on the 2021 team. So start off with Carter Verhage. Verhage was a big role in that center core. Of course, he would move on to Florida and wouldn't really win anything. He did face Tampa, ironically, in round 1 of this year. But he did pretty good in Florida. So that goes to show that Tampa's producing out prospects. And next up is Braden Coburn. Coburn, not really the biggest role on that blue line for Tampa. He would bounce around. He got traded to Ottawa, if I'm not mistaken. Then got placed on waivers. Got thrown to the Islanders, and he's still there as we speak. I think he's done in the NHL. I think Coburn's has lost his spot. Kevin Shattenkirk, notably one of those big guys on that blue line who was pretty notable. Got basically picked off of waivers from, the Rangers? Or the Rangers bought out his contract, got signed with Tampa, and then would go on to win a cup with them, and was a big role in that blue line, too, for them. So, very significant. Zach Bogosian was another guy. He was kind of a third pairing guy, but I thought he was pretty good, in all honesty. I really did think he was a really solid player, and I liked him personally, and I was happy when he went to Toronto, but we all know how that went. Alexander Volkov, who was a rookie at the time when he was with that team. He only played a game, though. He left mid-season, was on a trade to the Anaheim Ducks for Antoine Morand, who is looking like another great prospect in Tampa. So, yeah, you got so many guys in there. But he was technically a part of the team, although he didn't make that big of an impact. He still played a role in them. And then Scott Wedgwood, who was basically the bench warmer for the Lightning. Basically. He sat on the bench, went to the Devils, and actually played pretty well, to be honest with you. He's in our Devils franchise mode now. So in 2021, these were the guys who came in. David Savard, the biggest notable guy there. Savard would move in on that blue line as just a guy to really glue that blue line together. Kind of like a Blake Coleman type. When he moved in there, went into that roster and played well with Gordon Gaudreau. Savard went in there, put that blue line much more stronger than it already was. And, of course, he was a big piece in that Stanley Cup win. Ross Colton, he was with the roster, but he didn't play in the Stanley Cup. So he came in and took Carter Verhage's place and obviously played well. So we're gonna see him make a big impact next season. And then Matthew Joseph, I understand he was with the roster, but he did not play for the team last year. He kind of got carried, and I saw there was so many comments on his TikTok and his social media saying like, "Oh, you got carried to the Stanley Cup. You weren't even there." No, he actually made a key role. He was a big role in that fourth line when Alex Killorn got injured, in that roster. So I thought he played pretty well when he had to step in there. So I think he did earn himself the cup this year. Now we move on to your leaders. Who are the leaders in every single category for the Tampa Bay Lightning in each year of the playoffs? Well, first off, in 2020, the leader of the playoffs was Nikita Kucharov. He had 7 goals, 27 assists for 34 points. Just like this year, he was quietly putting up those points. In all honesty, he has almost 70 points in the playoffs over the past 2 years, and that's not even including years previous. He's been really the glue, and he's been, you could argue, the best player for Tampa in their entire Stanley Cup run. And you know what? In 2021, he was also the best player on the team. 8 goals, 24 assists, 32 points. There is that criticism of, oh, he was injured. He was injured, over 18 mil over the cap. When? Like, they didn't break any rules, guys. You guys need to understand that. And I'll make a couple more videos on Tampa over the offseason discussing this. But no, that's not just no. Like, it's not their. Yeah, I don't even know what to say. Anyways, in second place in 2020 was Braden Point with 14 goals, 19 assists for 33 points. I thought he should have won the Conn Smythe in 2020. Maybe not this year. This year was Vasilevsky, clearly. Whenever he was in the lineup, they would win. Whenever he wasn't in the lineup, they would lose. He would contribute every single night, whether it was goals, assists, or any other way he could, help out this team. He did, and he did it good. So I thought he should have won it, but of course Victor Hedman won it. And this year, Braden Point was also second with 14 goals, 9 assists for 23 points. He had goals in 9 straight games, starting off in the Carolina Hurricanes series and ending in the New York Islanders series. 9 games in a row. That the only person who has more than that is Reggie Leach of my Philadelphia Flyers, who are a disappointment now. And in third place of last year was Victor Hedman with 10 goals, 12 assists for 22 points. And this year, Steven Stamkos, who notably he was injured last year for Tampa. And if Stamkos was in, I think they would be over the cap anyways with the team that they have. So the fact that Stamkos was injured and last year and came in and made a big role this year really shows that he deserves his name on the cup this year. 8 goals, 10 assists for 18 points. One of those glue guys on the team. Not really well known, but he did have some good stretches there. And then, of course, in each year, Andrei Vasilevsky led on the goaltending side with an 18-7-0 record in last year, because of, including the round robin, a 1.90 goals against average, and a .927 save percentage. Damn. In this year's playoffs, Vasilevsky had a 16-7-0 record, so he lost the same amount of games each year, with a 1.90 goals against average and a .937 save percentage. He's insane. He really in the last series especially, he really backstopped the Bolts to a Stanley Cup win again. And he's had 5 straight shutouts in series clinching games. 5. He hasn't let in a goal in a series clinching game since against the Islanders in Game 6 of 2020. Yeah, unbelievable. So my takeaway from that is Vasilevsky's good, and that's literally all I said. So nonetheless, this is the best team I've ever seen play. Genuinely, some of the best players, some of the best roster, some of the best everything. They're good in every single aspect. Management, goaltending, coaching, offense, defense, you name it, they're good at it. And this team is a dynasty team, and if they win the cup next year, I really wouldn't be surprised. So thank y'all for watching, for our support as of late. We got a couple more videos coming out in the next couple of days. regarding Tampa, especially. We got a lot of videos to talk about with them. So, yeah, thank you all for watching, for all your constant support. I really do appreciate it. And I will see you guys in the next video.